For example, if he set up Edith Jones, I can assure you that would be a very, very, very difficult fight, and she probably would be filibustered.
What about Janice Rogers Brown? Someone else?
Excuse me, I'm not. By the way, I misspoke. Janice Rogers Brown is what I meant to say. The circuit court of a judge is bound by stare decisis. They don't get to make new law. They have to abide by the. For example, she.
So what you're saying is the Supreme Court's different than the appellate court, right?
What would the left wing call a man who filibustered a black woman for a court appointment? They would call him a racist and a misogynist, right? Well, while serving in the Senate, Joe Biden filibustered the nomination of Janice Rogers Brown, a black woman, for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Twice. And he warned President Bush he'd kill her nomination to the Supreme Court. But no Democrat is honest enough to call Joe Biden the racist he is. Joining me now is New York Republican candidate for the United States Senate, seeking to replace Chuck Schumer, our old buddy Joe Pinion. Hey, Joe, it's great to see you as always. Dick Durbin accused the Republican Party of not being able to handle putting a person of color on the high court. Hello, Justice Clarence Thomas, appointed by a Republican, and the only black person filibustering blacks out there is Joe Biden. So tell me, Joe, who are the real racists?
Look, the sad thing that we're facing right now is that this all begins way before the nomination. This starts with a nominee for president in Joe Biden saying that he would absolutely place a black woman on the court, and thus forcing any nominee he put forth to wear that scarlet letter of low bigotry, the low expectations that so many have been forced to wear, that Clarence Thomas himself talked about in his book, My Grandfather's Son, that nobody is ever good enough, and whatever, no matter what you put before them, they are defined solely by the color of their skin. And so here we are today talking about not the important issue that we have a judge that cannot define a woman, not a judge that suggests that I can wake up tomorrow, define myself as Asian and qualify for protections, as if Bill Clinton himself could go out there and say that he was the first black president and it would actually mean something. Those are the issues we should be talking about, but we're not, because we've been placed in a box by the president himself that undermined this nomination before it ever started.
Joe, crime, as you know, is off the charts in America, ruled by Democrats. During Judge Jackson's hearings, a couple of Republicans asked her some pretty simple questions on how to define certain criminals. Watch this.
In plain English, if you accuse someone of a crime, are you accusing them of being a criminal?
It depends on the context. It depends on what else you say about them.
In your view, it's more of a deterrent to have somebody substantially supervised in terms of their computer use who's looking at child pornography than it is to put them in jail.
Senator, I'm not saying it's more or less.
That's exactly what you're saying.
You can be doing this for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, you are looking at 30, 40, 50 years in prison.
Good. Good.
I understand.
Absolutely
Senator,
good. I hope you are.
To do.
Good.
Allow her to finish, please.
I hope you go to jail for 50 years.
Joe, it's in the Democrat politician job description to be that clueless. But we can't have judges be that ignorant, can we?
I mean, look, the sky is blue. The sky will always be blue. I'll always be a black man born in America. These are just things that you can't actually get away from. So if we have a judge that wants to sit there and pretend they're not being political while giving some of the most political non-answers in the history of a Supreme Court nomination, then on some basic level, they have to be treated as a hostile witness. And it's a very sad thing to see, because on paper, she is preeminently qualified. But when you look at some of these answers where you're trying to justify having compassion for the pedophile, when you're trying to justify the fact that in many ways we don't have definitions of things like women and men anymore, you have to start asking yourself the question, how in the world can somebody who has an open mind about packing the Supreme Court be allowed to serve on the Supreme Court? These are real questions, and Democrats want to make it about the identity politics, as always.
Joe, only got about 30 seconds left, but I want to talk about your opponent. Chuck Schumer openly threatened 2 Supreme Court justices. Does Schumer reflect New York values? Does the majority of people in New York now crave violence to settle political disagreements, as Mr. Schumer advocated on the steps of the Supreme Court?
Look, at the end of the day, the American people want to make sure they're not going to have to pay $7 for some gas. They want to make sure that we're not paying market prices for chicken wings at the diner. They want to make sure that they can keep their family safe. And when we've seen the crime go through the roof because of the three most dangerous words in the history of modern politics, defund the police, this was started by this utopian policies that only work on paper while the rest of us in the real world pay the price. That's why Chuck Schumer has to go. 42 years in Congress must be enough. And by the grace of God, by the will of the people, they can go to joepinion.com and help us get the job done because Chuck Schumer is the tip of the spear. And with your help, we can help end this American nightmare once and for all.